This is the Sports Timeout Podcast with Tony Caranco and your host, Wes Underwood.
It's that time again, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Timeout Podcast, brought to you by Blondie's Woodfire Wheelhouse Food Truck and Kraken Cajun Seafood House in Joplin. Find them on Facebook. Just search for Blondie's Woodfire Wheelhouse Food Truck. And if you're in the mood for some good pizza, you should definitely hit them up. Or Kraken Cajun Seafood House if you're looking for some fresh Cajun. Wes Underwood alongside Tristian tonight. Welcome in, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. And, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. We're going to start in the NBA, and we'll talk Lakers. Look, here I just proved myself right once again, and the fact that LeBron can't win without help. You go out and you get a guy, and Isaiah Thomas, it looks like they're going to get him. News late of yesterday. I like the signing, yeah, but they've been together before, and they didn't win together. So, I mean, if everybody keeps going down with COVID and all this stuff keeps happening, I don't know. Like, is this really a good signing? I mean, I know you like the guy. We kind of briefly talked about this a little bit, but... Right.
I think, and like we talked about before, Isaiah Thomas was a baller when he was with the Celtics.
He was.
And, even though he didn't do really good with LeBron before, I think, basketball is a huge chemistry team game.
Yeah.
I think as long as they got the chemistry down packed, I think Isaiah Thomas is going to be a really good fit, not only for the Lakers, but I think to give LeBron a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Trying to get through this little problem that they've got with COVID and all that.
Do you think LeBron, sorry to interrupt here, but this is just getting at me on this one here, because he's been with Isaiah before in Cleveland, and it was just after their championship. Do you think LeBron is a true team leader, or do you think it's the guys around him that make him look better?
Well, there's no I in team. So
it's true.
You put one guy up against five other guys. Obviously you're not going to do very good. But to answer your question, LeBron needs the help. I think Isaiah is a great fit for this team. But yeah, again, LeBron needs some help.
Yeah.
He's got players going down. He's got teammates going down.
Wholeheartedly agree. And he's pretty much brought in the whole cavalry.
Right.
So if they lose this year, it really is on him, because he's kind of the guy that recruits these guys.
Exactly.
So he doesn't have to play. Yeah, top dog indeed. And he barks at him like it too, because you see him in games and he's just standing on the court and he's like, all right, you go get that. I'm gonna be back. Okay, I'll hustle up there then, I guess. Type attitude. It's weird.
Yeah,
I've never seen that in a leader before, though. I really haven't.
Right. So, like, in the NFL, we call quarterbacks field generals.
Yeah.
But with LeBron, he is the court general. And, I mean, when it comes to playing a team sport like basketball, I think LeBron is not only the best guy for the job, but he's, I think, the Lakers' last hope at this point to not only bring another championship, but also...
So he's got to be the one to get it done.
Right.
Okay, all right. I can see that both ways. As much as I don't like LeBron, but some good points there. Definitely some good points.
At some point, we just got to swallow our pride and realize that,
true.
LeBron's going to be in the Hall of Fame at some point.
Oh, there's no doubt. No doubt.
And he is a great player, but, again, you can't win championships with one guy. That 95-96 Bulls was obviously one of the greatest teams in history. I may have got the years wrong on that, but, Michael can't do it without Steve Kerr, can't do it without Scottie Pippen, can't do it without Dennis Rodman, So, LeBron can't do it without Isaiah and the rest of the Lakers, so.
Okay. Yeah, it's true. That's definitely well pointed out there. No doubt about that. And, Scottie Pippen probably has a lot to say about the Michael Jordan thing there, too, but... Surprisingly, next in the NBA, we're going to go ahead and talk Bulls. And, the games that keep getting suspended with multiple COVID cases and everything on the rise there with the COVID situation, And then we kind of add in the NFL COVID cases on this as well. I mean, you see the rise there in the NFL too, and players on both sides are not happy. I mean, I've said it once and I'll say it again. I feel that everyone who's been vaccinated and contracts COVID should be allowed to play unless they experience the really bad symptoms that make them feel cruddy and just that they don't have the taste and the smell and, you know, the headaches and the vomiting. I mean, if you've got all that, don't play. So, I don't know. NBA, NFL, MLB all made it very clear that if the players were not vaccinated, they would inform the league and let them know and do the protocols and all that and yada, 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 yada. I mean, you get the Aaron Rodgers situation and then you get the LeBron situation, which both of them have kind of backed out of saying, well, we've got this, so why do... And they legitimately showed that they had their vaccination cards and all this kind of stuff. Now, Aaron Rodgers kind of flipped his story around a little bit. I'm not quite sure where that one went there. I don't know if you do or not either. I mean, it was just all over the place. But what are your thoughts here?
I think with Aaron Rodgers specifically, I think he's probably got the mindset like almost every American probably has, that he's just ready for all this stuff to boil over and get
the woke mob,
right?
You know, but that was the only thing I didn't really like there. But continue, go for it.
But no, I think Aaron Rodgers is probably like everybody else, just wants everything to get over with. All this COVID stuff, going back and forth with it. Obviously, last year it hit us hard.
Yeah,
but this year, I think we've had a better understanding of kind of where everything's going with the COVID stuff. But you know, it gives me kind of a headache hearing about it, seeing about it. You know, I just, especially in the NBA, just let them play.
Yeah.
Especially if they're vaccinated, they've got proof of it.
Yep.
Let them play. I mean, you've got, I don't know what a NBA arena holds at max capacity.
I mean,
but
probably around 16,000, 20,000, somewhere around there.
Right.
Depending where you're at.
You get a big NFL stadium that can hold 50, 60 plus, whatever the actual statistics are, and, you know, nobody's testing positive that we know of.
Yeah,
you know, in these stadiums, you've got 60,000 people shoulder to shoulder in a stadium with each other, but, you know, it's the players and anybody within these organizations that are really catching the flack for it because, you know, money and everything coming in and going out. And, you know, but, yeah, to answer your question, I think Aaron Rodgers, along with probably everybody in the NFL, is just ready for, you know, to stop hearing about it, stop, you know, forcing us to get vaccinated.
They came out with new guidelines, which kind of laxes the players, but, I mean, Baker Mayfield and other guys there, they've spoken up too, and no one's really sure about it. LeBron's even said that. He's not sure about what the protocols are, so I don't know. Next up in the NBA, though, we'll go ahead and move on here, and we'll talk Steph Curry. We'll go somewhere good here, and I like the guy. In my opinion, he's the new GOAT now. I mean, he's got to be all-time leader in threes in the NBA, past Ray Allen, a guy that LeBron had to bring in to win a championship down in Miami. Thoughts here? Do you think that LeBron goes and tries to recruit Curry? Do you think Curry would leave?
No. And
I'm right here with you.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even have to put a thought into it. No, he wouldn't. I mean, honestly, we don't know Curry personally. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in Missouri probably. But
yes,
you know,
yeah.
No, I think Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. I think, you know, that team, I would say, is probably a family. Honestly, I don't think Steph is leaving.
That's the kind of atmosphere that Kerr brings to that team. And Kerr played with the Bulls, and they know what it was like to be like family too. Because I mean, the Bulls were kind of that close together. Now, if you look at it from Scottie Pippen's point of view, probably not the best family you've ever heard of, but a lot of those guys said that they were like a family unit, and that's what it takes.
And honestly, you know, people talk about all the time that players win championships.
Yeah,
the players win the championships and everything, but I kind of want to sit back a moment and talk about, you know, management or and coaches. I mean, Steve Kerr knows how to win championships,
He does.
and it wasn't he got Curry and Klay Thompson for those people that aren't very familiar with sports. I mean, Steve Kerr was on that Bulls team with Jordan and Pippen,
and he was a bench guy too.
Yeah,
and then he only started a handful of times.
Yeah,
so it's
but
crazy.
He's known how to win championships for a very long time now, and he brought that to Golden State, and now Curry's a champion, Thompson's a champion. I think, not only is he possibly the future GOAT once LeBron finally retires in probably 40 years, but
yeah, he's gonna pull a Tom Brady. There's no doubt there.
When you look at that 3-point list with the record he broke earlier this week, I mean, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, those guys were on that list, and now he's the king of the mountain pretty much. And
he's still got a lot of game to play too.
Oh yeah,
one injury.
Not only is he going to beat the record, but he is going to completely shatter that record.
Yeah. For
future players that look up to Steph Curry and want to try and beat that record. I mean, all I got to say to those guys is good luck. I mean, Curry is not only the future GOAT, but he is the best shooter to ever play on a basketball court.
Although Curry has ruined the game for the younger generation because everybody thinks that they want to shoot the three like Curry. Thank you for doing that, Curry. I don't appreciate that coming from a coach's standpoint, but congratulations, it's well-deserved, and there's no other player I'd rather have it than you. I mean, you overcame a lot of adversity as well, so kudos to you. Joking on that, by the way. A lot of kids do that, but, I mean, they think that they're you, so that's a good thing. They're looking up to you, so that's awesome.
But, I mean, also to touch on that point, also, I mean, obviously I wasn't, back in the 90s, I wasn't old enough to really watch
we
Michael
always
Jordan.
mimic Jordan.
Yeah, everyone wanted to be Jordan, and a lot of people nowadays still want to be like Jordan. So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, everyone wants to talk about the GOAT debate and who's going to be the Michael Jordan of the league or whatever.
Yeah.
But Kobe, Michael, Steph Curry, KD will be up there. LeBron's already up there.
Yep.
I mean,
it's a long list.
Yeah, I mean, but people look up to these guys, and I just hope in the future that these guys don't end up doing something that just completely shadows, or whatever the term is, but just takes. I hope they don't do anything that takes away from the game itself.
Understand. Yep. Next up, we're going to go ahead and head into the NFL, and we'll talk Jags. I mean, the whole Urban Meyer thing has become a giant mess. A big enough mess that former Jaguars kicker Josh Lambo is saying that the coach kicked him and basically verbally abused him. Look, I'm not there. I'm not on the team. I have no idea what's going on inside the locker room and in the practice facilities, but this is a guy who made one mistake, and that was everything that went down at that club. Coach Meyer, he's one of the best coaches in college football, and I will put him up there with Nick Saban because his loss record is not that much in college. He's left on multiple occasions for his family. He's left on his own health. He's left under his own circumstances every single time. And he goes in, changes the program around, and he wins. I mean, he's had multiple NFL players that have come out of his systems, and none of those guys are throwing shade at him. I think you just got to angry Josh Lambo because he got cut. I mean, the dude was missing field goals. I don't know how many he missed. He said it was just one in what I read. But he's also, Coach Meyer's also hated because weird moves in the draft and all that, and a losing season. I mean, what are your thoughts here? Should he have gotten the axe?
That's a tough one to answer because, obviously we don't know what's happening behind closed doors and whether he's even telling the truth to begin with. But, I've at the same time, the news has been out there for a couple days now,
maybe,
and we've yet to hear anything from Urban Meyer. So I mean,
He just up and left the facility today is what the article said. This morning, he just up and left. Didn't talk to anybody.
Is that, acting out of guilt or?
I mean, he's got a family too.
Yep.
And they're all behind it. Here's another thing too. I mean, where are the coaches and stuff? Why are they not talking about it? They're allowed to.
Right.
But if he's not doing something wrong, the coaches aren't going to say anything. I mean, John Gruden did what he did, and the coaches and players spoke up and said that they didn't believe any of it and that it's gone too far. And, I mean, here's another case of that. As much as I don't like Urban Meyer in the NFL, I still think the guy should have had another year. I still think he should have gotten a shot. I still think that they pulled the trigger too soon because you get a guy who brings in a completely new system and you don't even give him a full season. It's weird.
Yeah, because here recently, especially about John Gruden and the Raiders, there was a investigation about the emails and everything that went down with that. But where's Urban Meyer's investigation? What they just all right, you're done.
You're just going off of media credibility and he said she said things. So
and
it's weird.
And who I feel for right now is Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
rookie quarterback. He's struggled. I mean, one of the greatest quarterbacks in college football history, and oftentimes this is what happens with quarterbacks that try and transition to the league. But I feel for Trevor Lawrence because the guy has so much potential to be one of the greats.
He does.
But, I think, especially with a lot of quarterbacks in the past that have not transitioned very well, I think it's the system.
Yeah.
I think, at first I thought, Urban Meyer's going to probably bring kind of a familiarity with Trevor Lawrence being the quarterback, and that chemistry is probably going to start off on a good start. But with all of this, I mean, Trevor Lawrence has even spoke up and said that he's done with all the drama within the organization. And I feel like this NFL season has just been all drama.
Yep.
I mean, it's completely taken away from the game. It's completely, taken away from the excitement of the season. I mean, I feel like all the fans are just waiting for that next storyline that's just going to tear someone's just completely strip them out of the franchise, the organization, and again take it out of the game.
Yeah. And lastly, in the NFL, we'll go ahead and talk T.J. Hawkinson of the Lions. If you haven't heard, I mean, he's out for the season, has season-ending surgery on his thumb. Anything else go wrong for the Lions in franchise history? I mean, do they really need to just go ahead? And Jason Dunn, former Chiefs tight end, brought this up a couple weeks ago before the Thanksgiving games. And, I mean, you got to do something to right the ship with Barry Sanders because there's got to be some type of curse, kind of like the GOAT in Chicago. I don't know. Something is going on in Detroit, and they just can't get it together.
One of these days.
I know. It's going to be like a miraculous, glorious day when the Lions win the Super Bowl.
Well,
or make a playoff.
Yeah. The Detroit Lions are what the Cubs are to baseball. It's probably going to be another 100 years before
it's crazy.
Lions. I mean, I feel for the Lions. Everyone knows Barry Sanders is one of the top 5 running backs of all time.
Yep.
And saying that, he never had an offensive line, and
he didn't.
40 plus years later, they still don't have an offensive line. They don't have a team.
They get hurt in the preseason right before the season starts, and this is where I like that they shortened the preseason, but I'm totally for it now. Get rid of the preseason and just add it into the season. That way you have some sort of a chance.
Right.
I don't get it. And anyway, on that note, we'll go ahead and head into the 2-minute warning, which is brought to you by Trackside Burger in Webb City. Come on in and try their double cheeseburger and honey sriracha fries. If not, you can get some of the ranch fries too. Those are pretty good. It's also a great place to get other great food, so go check them out. And now we'll talk local basketball. And first up, we have Neosho is the team we'll be talking about. And Neosho boys basketball will head to Seneca tonight to take on the Indians at 7:30. Next, we have Joplin. The Eagles will take on Sunrise Christian tomorrow at 5 p.m. at Webb City High School. Then the Webb City boys basketball team will play in the four-state shootout tomorrow as well, and they will play host to Parsons. Game time is set for 6:30 p.m., and they will also play at Rogers Heritage next Tuesday. So tune into the team's athletic and social media pages for game times and locations on that one, just in case if it changes. I mean, it's pretty set in stone right now, but you know. And then Carthage boys will also be participating in the four-state shootout tomorrow as well. They will play Rogers at 3:30 p.m., and then we'll head up to Kansas City on Tuesday for the Hy-Vee Holiday Shootout. Game times and locations will be on the team's athletic and social media pages as well. Carl Junction boys, they'll continue playing in the Mustang Classic tonight through tomorrow, and tune into the team's athletic and social media pages as well, because their bracket will be updated by game. So, and then next up we have high school girls basketball. The Joplin girls will head to Seneca tonight to take on the Indians. Tune in to the Joplin Eagles athletic page for the times on that as well. Then the Webb City girls will compete in the LR Lady Cat Classic starting tonight until the 22nd of December. And lastly, we have the Carl Junction girls. They will compete in the Border Classic starting Monday, and it will last until Wednesday, December 22nd. And for more on team schedule changes, as well as other information, head to Twitter or team social media pages for updates, as well as checking out Somo Sports with Lucas Davis and Jason Peak, as they cover most of these games as well. So, with high school basketball out of the way, next up we have local college sports, and it's brought to you by Jefferson's and Joplin. Go join Billy and his crew this holiday for free fried pickle Friday, and they're pretty tasty. Just dip them in that ranch they got there too. That stuff is fantastic. But yeah, just color a dollar bill on Fridays and get a free fried pickle. And we will start with the MSSU women's basketball. They will be at home tomorrow as they will play host to Lincoln at 1:30 p.m. and the men will follow. As for the Pitt State women's basketball team, they will play host to Central Missouri tomorrow. Tip is set for 1:30 p.m. also, and the men will follow that game as well. And that's all I got. You got any fights or anything?
I do want to talk about one. Obviously, UFC had a pay-per-view over the weekend. I did want to kind of talk about one of the fights that just kind of blew me away. It was Dominick Cruz and Pedro Munhoz.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're not a huge fan of the UFC or fighting in general, let me just fill you in on Pedro Munhoz and Dominick Cruz. I think I'm saying his last name right. I may be wrong, but anyways, Pedro Munhoz is one of those bantamweights that, I mean, he could hit you one time and you'll be out cold. He is a sniper with his hands, and he's not that bad on the ground either. But with Dominick Cruz is one of the best bantamweights of all time in the UFC. And even though he lost to Uriah Faber, Henry Cejudo, I mean, this fight was just, and he's getting old, but this fight just, at first I thought, you know, Pedro rocked him a couple times. But Pedro's big mistake was getting Dominick against the cage and letting him kind of, all right, I got rocked. It's time to wake back up. But you know, Dominick being Dominick, I mean, he's a tough dude. I mean, he's getting up there in age, but you know, in my opinion, I think he was starting to lose that first round, but second round he came back, guns blazing, and I mean, it ended up being a unanimous decision. But man, that fight could have went either way. If that would have been a 5-round fight, there would have been a winner in the 4th or 5th round. I mean, just they were going back and forth. But at the end of the day, I mean, Dominick's wrestling and takedown defense was just too much, and he ended up scoring victory. I mean, there's no other way to talk about it other than Dominick picked his shots and picked his time to defend and when to strike, and just overall, I think he was just patient and ended up taking the victory. I really am excited to see where he ends up going in the bantamweight division. Hopefully, he can bring the gold back.
That'd be great. And well, of course, all these games, events are pending to weather and the current fluid COVID-19 situation and weird weather we've been having indeed. And well, the music is here, and so is the end of another episode for Tristian and myself. Have a great and safe weekend. Only 1 week left until Christmas. Can't wait. And next week's edition will be maybe having some giveaways, so stay tuned for that. And see you next time.